Okay, this is for anybody who does face-to-face selling. So, I was in a BMW dealership today, and they were trying to sell me a new BMW. And I wanted so desperately to talk to the sales manager about the way they have laid out this office because it's painful. They are losing a massive amount of money. I don't know how much, but it's a lot by having their room set up this way. And so I want to talk to you guys a little bit about something more advanced, especially for those of you who sell cars, sell insurance, sell anything where you're having a face-to-face relationship with somebody. I can just tell no thought at all was put into how they designed this room. Because they got a little table here, they got a couple of chairs, as you can see, and then they got this long bench here, and they got the sales guy's desk. Now, there are multiples of these, probably maybe 10 of them on this side, and all of them are set up exactly the same way for continuity and consistency. So this is something they have done because they feel like it looks good when you walk in and see it. Everything's organized, everything's symmetrical, it's all the same. The problem is it puts the sales guy at a supreme disadvantage. So let me explain what I mean. Here is where the sales guy sits, right? So if the sales guy's sitting here, and you're talking about a car, and I, of course, sat here. And if I sit here, I'm directly behind the sales guy, and I'm staring at the back of his head while he's looking into the screen. And so I sit here kind of catty corner from him, but still, as he stares to look at the screen, if I kind of draw this in here, I'm sitting here. Stop that. That's what I want. I'm sitting here, I'm over here, and I'm looking at him, kind of looking this direction, and he's pointed and looking at the screen. So my back is to him the entire time. And the second problem that we have with this, if you take a look, is look at how much space is between us. Like I could physically feel when I was sitting in this chair while he was looking up stuff on the computer to see what sort of inventory he had before we got everything together, and when he was looking up prices on stuff, I could feel the disconnection between the two of us. And then when he got ready to talk to me, of course, then he would flip his chair around and he would wheel this chair over here, making this chair obviously unnecessary. And I'm looking at it going, why on earth would you have all this stuff here? Like, what is the purpose of having this right here? There's absolutely no purpose to this. This is a standard file folder, file cabinet. It can go anywhere. It serves no purpose. And as you can see, this guy's very new, and so he doesn't actually have anything on his desk. If I go 2 or 3 desks over, I get the real salesman, and he's got his stuff's just littered with best salesman of the year, awesome salesman, greatest sales guy ever, and kind of showcasing him as an expert in selling cars. Again, not sure if I would want to have that on my desk if I was a sales guy. I can justify it either way, but that's irrelevant for right now. What they need to do with this is they need to take this desk and they need to send it way over here, okay? I don't care where they put it. They can put it up against this wall. They can put it up against this wall. I don't care, but this has got to go. And what we want to do is we want to take this chair right here and we want to move it over here. And we want to put it right next to this guy's desk where the foot locker is now. Why? Because I want that connectivity. I want us to be looking at each other. I want to be leaning over and talking to the potential prospect as I'm looking for stuff and continuing the conversation. See, when he turns around to look at his computer screen, we can't have a conversation anymore. And especially when it comes to selling cars. People say he doesn't walk onto the lot lest he wants to buy. There's a great deal of truth in that, and here's why. Tell me one person who wouldn't love to walk off the lot with a brand new car. Like everybody who has a car that's more than a few weeks old wants a new car. We would love to do it. And if we're on the dealership, certainly we've gone to the extra step of coming out just to look and see. Even if we're not going to buy that day, we sure as hell want to. We would love to walk out of there with something new. So it's not about the car. It's really about the relationship that you're developing with the guy sitting across from you. And when I'm sitting all the way over here, and he's sitting all the way over there and his back's to me and I can't talk to him and we can't have a conversation, we can't continue to develop that relationship, that trust and rapport through the entire buying process, all it does is create distance and separation. So they need to push this and they need to push it over here next to where he is. Now, the question is, what do you do with the table and the other chair? How do we handle that? What if there's a third party involved? I've got all that worked out too. It was pretty simple to do in your mind and do the layout. I won't get into all of that. What I want you thinking about constantly, diligently, is what is my client experiencing? Every single thing that happens in that dealership matters. How they address me when I pull up, where I park, when the guy comes out to meet me, how he comes out to meet me, what does he say? So for example, when he came up to me, he said, "Hey, Jason," and I said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, Washington." And I said, I'm sorry, like Washington?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, okay." He's like, "Okay," well, he goes, what brings you in today?" And already we're at there's kind of like this, "Oh, okay, now I'm stumbling." What would have been far better is if if I'd walked in, Washington had seen me, had walked up, big smile on his face, had not said my name until we had made eye contact, had reached his hand out and said, "Jason," shook hands and said, "How can I help?" Not "How can I help you today?" because that sounds like you're a service provider. It sounds like you're wearing a name tag at Walmart. No, just simply, "How can I help?" Not "What brings you in today?" Of course, what brings me in today? I'm looking at new cars, dummy. No, "How can I help? I am here to be of service to you. How can I help?" Now, what does this imply? This implies that I actually need some help and that I need this guy to do something for me. And so that also gives an open-ended question that now requires a response from me, and that by its very admission, by me responding, I'm admitting that I need help and that this guy can help me. Hey, there's a psychological thing that happens there. And unfortunately, this poor guy had only been selling cars for 2 or 3 months. He was woefully out of his depth. I just ran circles around this guy as we were talking about it. And of course, then after it was all said and done, I got all the pricing done on the car that I wanted, but they didn't want to give me as much for my car as I wanted. And so I ended up walking away. And they did everything they could to keep me there. I was there about 3 hours. But the point is like, this guy never stood a chance. But he could have been there was a better chance if he had created a relationship. And he can't create the relationship when his office and when his selling environment is set up like this. So whether you sell online, whether you sell in person, whether you go to a coffee shop to sell or you bring somebody to your office, the way you sit, where they sit, what you say, how you communicate, the look on your face, the way you're dressed, it all matters. It should all be deliberate. Do not screw this up. This guy lost a sale today because he didn't know what he was doing and because his company, his dealership, set him up for failure. So anyway, this was fresh on my mind. I was so frustrated with it when I was looking at it that I was like, I have to take a picture of this and tell you all because there's so much here that needs work. So anyway, this is one of my favorite things to do, by the way, when I work with clients, my higher end clients that can afford to bring me out and have me do this stuff, is to walk around and be like, "Hey, why do you do it like that?" Maybe they got a great reason, but in this case, it did nothing but hurt and damage the sale. So pay attention to all of this and go and be better. Talk to you guys soon.